Hey, welcome to the big show. It is the 21st of March. It's a Thursday, 21st of March in 2024. Keep that in mind. I'll say it again during the show, and or so will my colleagues, that if you're watching this later, the information we're talking about, as far as we know, is correct today, but it may change over time. So double check if it's something crucial to you. Michael Trager is in the middle of the screen here. He knows everything there is, well, about a lot of stuff, particularly Las Vegas, a whole lot about Las Vegas. He runs Travel Zork that does all things Vegas. He also knows a whole lot about generally hotel points and airline miles, as does Tommy Danielsen. If you're a regular viewer, you know he is the dean of frequent flyer points, frequent hotel points. Not much else. I mean, that's about it, really. But it's something. Anyway, I wanted to start out today with the Wall Street Journal ranking of the best big airports in the United States. And you might not be surprised at the first one, which is Phoenix, because it's a very well laid out airport. And of course, the weather's nice and mild and that sort of thing, which sort of runs in the face of the second, just a hair behind it, which is my where I live, Minneapolis-St. Paul's airport, where the weather is crap 6 months to 7 months of the year. But they seem to have done it pretty well. The airport's great signage, nice amenities, nice clubs. But what do you guys think? The top three: Phoenix, Minneapolis, LA, and Atlanta. What do you think?
I have trouble with Atlanta. I have trouble with Atlanta.
Honestly, I think Minneapolis, the reason isn't because they have great signage for old people. I think that it's more usually because they have a really nice policy there that they don't let any tenants. The tenants there are forced to charge the same price at the airport as at a downtown location. That's something that's unique to Minneapolis, and also and also they do really well in the winter. Winter management they're really good at. So when there is weather, they have the resources to train people and the capacity with snow removals and de-icing and stuff. I think that's what it means. Why Minneapolis is so well liked.
And speaking of snow, by the way, we're coming to you Thursday. There's supposed to be snow tonight, but a big snow on Sunday, like a big snow on Sunday. So if you're changing planes in Minneapolis-St. Paul or just flying here, be sure to watch that weather report. But the airport's pretty good at snow removal, as Tommy said. Michael, what do you think about Phoenix, Minneapolis, LA, Atlanta? I heard you mutter about Atlanta, and I agree with you. There they are.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with an airport like Atlanta is,
there you go.
You know, a big part of my judgment is judging for people who live in the area, the originating and departing people who live in the area, and how quickly they can always get through security and get to their flights. And I think Atlanta's just gotten worse on that element. I can't speak to Minneapolis. Now, I can speak to my current home off airport, which won't be very, very long, and that's Charlotte. And a lot of people have a lot of gripes about Charlotte. But I will tell you that there has not been a time in the last 3 years where TSA PreCheck took me more than 10 minutes in Charlotte, even during busy times. So
it's number 12. Wall Street Journal list. Number 12 is Charlotte. I don't know where this list is, Tommy. This is the
one you sent me 2 emails. I took the best and the worst. I mean, I guess there's 2 lists. The Wall Street Journal has one, and
you need to have probably a password to get into. Although I linked to it right from Google.
I have a Wall Street Journal.
This is the JD Power one. They're naming Detroit as the best mega in Minneapolis. Okay.
Well, I don't think Detroit is a mega airport.
Well, JD Power apparently thinks so. So they're saying Detroit, Minneapolis, LA, Vegas, Dallas, Fort Worth, Miami, and the first top 5 on Wall Street Journal: Phoenix, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Detroit, San Francisco coming in number 6. So yeah, I mean Minneapolis scores on both, but not a lot of crossover otherwise on the top 5. You do have we should look at the worst one down there, right?
That's the worst one is up here.
That's fun.
Okay. I don't know how they get to these, but if I were to, let's look at that. So what do you got? Newark, Toronto, Seattle, Tacoma, Fort Lauderdale, and Boston Logan. First of all, Fort Lauderdale, it definitely isn't a mega airport. So I don't know what JD Power is. They got to maybe stop drinking on the job. Fort Lauderdale is a pretty small airport, or smaller airport.
Right.
And worst large airport: Philly, Honolulu, Montreal, Oakland, and San Diego. Worst medium: Kaului Airport, Hollywood Burbank, Bradley. So Tom Bradley International, where's that?
I don't know. I mean, that's the name of the
Bradley.
Bradley's, that's Connecticut.
Okay.
That's the airport you use when you're going to Mohegan Sun. Everything
Okay, I've never been.
everything goes about where you can fly in closest to a casino.
That's what
Is
I
that HPN? Is that? No, that's not White Plains.
Yeah, it's BDL.
Oh, okay.
BD,
So whatever.
Off the top of my head.
I should have noted that Mr. Travel Zork is also an expert on casinos, so that's why he knows where Bradley International Airport is, because it's by the Mohegans.
You forgot to mention that Michael has, in the last couple of years, he's become one of the leading travel advisors, helping rich people with big wallets book private jets and book nice hotels and all that kind of stuff. He's like managing the all of these globalists that are flying around the world that all the Trumpists hate.
Michael, we'll keep that in mind as I get richer and richer every day. So.
I think that this list is definitely horseshit. So I've closed the window on the Wall Street Journal article. I'm sorry, because I thought it was too. I thought there was, since this had the word.
Well, you know what's interesting about this list, and I think it's so hard to know what metric they're using. Like I was just at Newark Airport recently. The new Terminal A is absolutely spectacular.
Well, the new
terminal. So how do you vote? You know, when I look at some, and like Boston Logan has a huge differentiation between terminals because it's not, you don't really move between the terminals. So I think it's tough to, you know, how do you say Newark if you go into the new Terminal A? Actually, I was blown away at how beautiful the new Admirals Club was in Terminal A at Newark Airport.
United has the new. They have done huge changes to the United Club and to Polaris and stuff. So I don't even know. So Newark is known for that, right? People have the perception that that's actually the case.
Yeah, exactly. You want to know?
I think that if I were to say, on this list here, San Diego it's super easy. The airport is close to downtown. There's never any lines in security. They got lounges now and all of this stuff. And Burbank, like literally, you get off a Southwest plane and it takes you less than 90 seconds to get in a taxi or an Uber.
Exactly.
I mean, and also when you're flying out of there, no, it doesn't have a lounge because you don't need to. Because
but that's my factor when you start to talk about like what's the most important for originating traffic. Like for me, I want an airport where you can get through security right away and you don't go wait anywhere in the airport. Right now, I live 12 minutes away from Charlotte, and I know that I will be through security in under 15 minutes, so I can get to the airport with hand baggage only in a half hour to an hour and never have to worry about it. So to me, that's how I would vote. Like you are with San Diego, I would vote that makes it a great airport as opposed to Atlanta. Even with Clear, it could take you an hour.
Right.
In Atlanta. So
and how can you Las Vegas is bumpy as hell.
Well, I think the Wall Street Journal one is a little more authoritative. You want to know, they only list the top 20. Do you want to know what the last 5 are? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20?
So these are the best ones, right? Can you start from the top?
Well, I'll start from the top again. That's Phoenix, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Detroit, San Francisco are the top 6.
Okay.
Followed by Houston, Seattle, Las Vegas, Boston, Chicago, Charlotte, Denver, and Miami. And then the bottom 5, LaGuardia in New York, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Dallas, Fort Worth, JFK, and Newark. Newark comes in at number 20 of 20.
Yeah, I think that it all depends. Like, for example, I see my airport, Sacramento, is the 5th for the best large airport. And I think that Sacramento is just, it's junk. It's junked from one end to another. I mean, you have such a small airport. And first of all, it's not large at all. You have such a small airport that has 2 terminals, like way past each other. So you have to go through security. And they're so far apart that you have to take a shuttle between them. It's very poorly built. And the second thing is like the parking garage and also the outside parking. It is so underdimensioned for what it is that you most of the times when we drive there to park, you cannot park in the terminal. You can't find parking, which means that you got to show up and you got to park at the economy parking, $10 economy parking, which is like a couple of miles away from the airport.
Are they talking about fixing it up, doing anything to it?
They are, but still, it's not. They're not fixing up the airport itself. The parking, they are spending $1 billion on that. But anyway, so looking at the other one you had for us, Rudy, was the Disney. Michael, do you book Disney at all with cruises?
Yeah, actually, I just booked a couple people. I've been booking the Disney Dream out of Barcelona.
And
which is
just
sort of
for
cool.
people
It's round trip.
For people to I just want to make sure that they know. I was joking earlier. You don't have to be rich to save money with Michael's company. I use that company all the time, and I'm the poorest guy on this call for sure.
No,
You know what? I love the Disney product. I think what they do is great. I think their price point is a little bit higher, but for me personally, and a lot of people who are referrals for me, Disney misses two major elements, and one is they have no casinos, and they have they have no cigar lounges.
but
So that's for you personally, and your closest friends.
Yes.
You're Mr. Casino with a cigar in your mouth. But
this is the new ship, right, Rudy? Tell us about the new ship you read about.
Yes, beginning to take shape, as the story says. But let me ask you, because I really don't know. I mean, would a couple like going on a Disney cruise, or is it really family? I mean, they started as family. I know that, but has it expanded? Do couples like to go on it, Michael?
Yeah, and a lot of people are quite fans of Disney. Many adults are fans of Disney and the theming. So I think it's quite consistent. They run, they've got a great consistent product, and the ships are great, and people like this whole Disney concept, which I think is great. I think Disney is actually very interesting, though I haven't been there in a lot of years and I don't have young children, but I think it definitely fills a market segment. What I think is so interesting is that Disney manages to basically be such a premium segment, because it really is a pretty premium segment. I mean, it's definitely like mid to premium market on cruising, and I think that's very, very interesting that Disney's that's their market.
I was surprised that they got the Disney Adventure that's going to home port in Singapore. I had no idea Disney had reached that far. I thought they were all U.S. based, or U.S. home ports anyway. Guess not.
Yeah.
Well, personally, we do a little bit of cruising. I feel like, so Melinda's all over. She loves Disney and she wants to do it. I just don't think that where we have looked, where it's comparable area. First of all, they don't really cruise that many areas. Not their itineraries aren't that exciting to me. But of course, I've been to a lot of places, but I think that if it fits and if the price is right, but I mean, the product itself and what you get for your money, it's about double of what, for example, Celebrity is, and Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean. Disney cruises are just about double. Is that accurate? Or
Michael, and also, I mean, on a broad stroke, their concierge level is very, very expensive on Disney.
Tommy, can you tell me what Melinda likes about Disney? I mean, I have no opinion. I'm just asking what she particularly likes about that line.
I don't think she's been on a Disney cruise. I don't think she has, but I think that she, in general, Disney's fun and it's happy. And, as you know, she's the happiest person alive. And it's, she likes it a lot, and she loves the Disney. She lived in SoCal for a long time, and she loves to go to Disney and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's the gig. She wants to do one. For me, it's like, why would I pay? We were looking at Alaska, right? Why would I pay almost the same as Seabourn to go on a Disney cruise? It's like,
because Melinda can't smoke her cigars and hang out in the casino all night.
That's true. That is very
well.
True.
You know what? One of the interesting conversations, the most interesting conversations on cruises, is Silver Sea versus Seabourn, and I've been having that one a lot lately, and I am absolutely floored. Some of the Asia cruises next year for Silver Sea. I have one client on a 30-day out of Singapore. It ends in Japan. Those cruises on the Nova, on the Silver Sea Nova, are already sold out.
What are you floored by? The prices or the wonderfulness of them?
Just how popular they are. But remember, Silver Sea and Seabourn are also much smaller ships.
Sure.
Like right now, I was just checking inventory for Barcelona in July on the Disney Dream, and there's still a lot of inventory available. But for some reason, Silver Sea, these Asian itineraries, seem to be booking up well over a year in advance. So that's something very interesting. So Silver Sea, I mean, I've been getting great feedback on Silver Sea and also Seabourn. So it's interesting. I mean, I'm personally most excited about the new Cunard ship, but I'm a geek with
And where's that going to run?
New York to London.
no, it's not. It's not a liner. It's the same as the other ships, but their inaugural transatlantic was to Port Canaveral, or is it their normal transatlantic?
They
They keep shifting the dates. I had actually booked an early one, and then I canceled it because they kept.
Well, are they doing Caribbean, or they are doing transatlantic all the time?
No, they're not doing much transatlantic. They're doing Caribbean. They're doing
Mediterranean.
European, a lot of European Mediterranean stuff.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on to crazy bag fees. As we all know, all of the major, and it's when it comes to bag fees, when somebody domestic U.S. Increases a bag fee, it's monkey see, monkey do. All of the other carriers follows right behind, and they went out $5 now this year to, is it $40 now for checking a bag, something like that, or is it 35?
I think it's 35 and 40.
35.
Some 40, some 35. Yeah.
Right. So there are some reports. I noticed this in a thread on Facebook, one of these travel groups on Facebook, that Etihad is charging some crazy out of control bag fees, which they do, which when you purchase a ticket, it might come with a bag that's included, or it might come with without a bag. There's various levels of tickets you can buy with these guys, like with everybody else. Normally, when you have you purchase the tickets either through a guy like Michael, or if you buy it online directly from the airline, you literally go into when you get the record locator, you can go in and they will offer you want to buy an upgrade or things like that, or you want to add an extra bag, and you can spend $50 more or $35 more to add an extra bag. But there was a report of a person who was going to the Maldives, and that was on a mileage ticket, but the extra bag, it's the same if it's a mileage ticket or a paid ticket. There was a guy who had a paid ticket on Etihad in business class, and bag on board for 12 kilos was included, and he wanted to have a extra checked bag. And he was told that would cost $960 US.
No.
Let me show you the receipt here. I don't know if I can actually show the receipt or the thing.
Where were you flying from, Tommy? Not that it matters. You can fly from anywhere in the world for a lot.
I think it was from the US to, I can't actually. It only gives me the ability to show my whole screen or it doesn't let me show you that particular one. So, but I can show you the here we go. I'm just going to show it real quick. Here's the receipt from my friend that I downloaded from the internet. As you can see here, you'll see a $960 charge for being in paid business class, mind you. I think it was from Abu Dhabi to Male, or was it from here to Abu Dhabi and then to Male? I don't remember, to be honest with you. But I did do a little bit of a search I did do a little bit of a search on Reddit, which usually has when there's something like this happening, and here is the thread. That is this guy was going from Lisbon to Singapore one way, and he got 30 kilos of checked baggage and 7 kilos of cabin baggage. So that to me sounds like a coach bag type of stuff. So if he wanted to bring a bag, so if we were to say 50 pounds is 23 kilos, right? So if you wanted to book a 50-pound bag from Lisbon to Singapore, he was quoted, it would be $781.55 euros, actually. So about a little bit more north of $800 for 25. As you can see, he gets a little bit of a discount here. So it's not $1,100.
Bag or one for his first bag? I can't see.
His first bag is included. He wanted to add a second bag. Right.
Well, so far, the story is don't take any second check bags.
I think the big story.
Here's another guy, Abu Dhabi to Bahrain, which is like a small. And she had one item that wasn't oversized and weighed 31 kilos. And she went to look online. She didn't have a checked bag. She wanted to buy a checked bag, and it was $324 for an extra bag, which is like how outrageous. I've never ever heard of anything like that.
It's like these are business, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's a short flight. It's like 1 hour or something, isn't it?
Not even. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, it's a little. It's a little.
And these were all award tickets, right? All business.
No.
class
These are
award
paid tickets. I excluded the only one that I excluded the. There's a big thread on Flyer Talk about the award tickets on American, which includes a check bag. There's some confusion about that, but this is for an extra bag, and it goes if you have a mileage ticket or if it's a revenue ticket, it's the same price. And it is
Interesting.
north of $1,000 is the highest I've seen, which is quite unique.
Ridiculous. What
All
else?
right, last
Well,
one
because
before
I
we
am
let you go,
the
Rudy. I know you have a
unbundling-
big date. The JetBlue has our good friend Marty St. George, a great guy who used to work for JetBlue back in the days, but he did some cleanup job for Norwegian, and then he went down to LATAM and worked there for 4 years, and he's now president of JetBlue. And now we're seeing some cuts happening in the various areas, and the routes that are being cut. Let me think. I found something here. So LA is going to bleed a lot from where it's going, and they try to kind of historically they were based in Long Beach when they flew out of the West Coast. They made LAX focus city, and that has royally bombed significantly. So they're getting rid of Puerto Vallarta. They're getting rid of all of the beach markets like Cancun and stuff like that. They're getting rid of Miami. They're getting rid of also the short haul routes on the West Coast where there's a lot of Southwest competition and also a lot of Alaska competition. So SFO, Reno, Seattle, and Las Vegas is gone. So they're only keeping Salt Lake City. And not just that, they're also getting rid of quite a few other ones as well on the West Coast.
Now, these folks are totally cutting Kansas City, Missouri. Well, that's Midwest. Kansas City, Missouri, and Newboro, New York, by the way. All gone. Newburgh, New York. Sorry.
And also a bunch of beach towns as well. They're kidding. They're Fort Lauderdale. They're cutting Atlanta with Sea-Rock, Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, Austin, Nashville, New Orleans.
They're cutting back on, not totally cutting out, right?
No, they're cutting back. Yeah. But they're still keeping the Mint routes at both LAX and San Francisco. So Mint goes to Fort Lauderdale. They're just getting rid of Miami. And Mint also goes to Boston from LA, and also from I think Seattle has Mint to Boston, I think. And also, of course, the flagship routes to JFK from both San Francisco are staying
Are they keeping their relatively new London route?
No, that's not new. That's before the pandemic. But they're flying to Amsterdam now, and also I think to Paris.
Is endurance.
Sorry, I got another computer making noise here. I just shut it down. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What do you? But the European travel. How do you guys feel about how about JetBlue and the changes that are being made now? They're obviously in trouble. But is it what they're doing now are cuts and some stuff? But what's the future, and how do we feel about JetBlue and moving forward?
Go ahead, Michael.
I'm sort of confused about what their direction is, and I still, for the limited amount of jet, I tend to find that they're the most operationally challenged and continue to be. Maybe, and I'm not backing that by data points, so maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that American and United have become much better and JetBlue has not become much better. I also have a lot of trouble with JetBlue when there are mechanical issues getting them to endorse tickets over, even though they should. So I'm rather negative about JetBlue just from a service and support.
I don't fly them enough to really have a big presence here in the Midwest and middle America here, but I am flying them from LA to San Francisco in a couple of weeks, however, so I'll try them. But I just have to think that they weren't flying full flights to those places they're cutting back on, or they weren't charging enough money. And maybe they just hope by consolidating flights and having fewer a day, and maybe they can charge a little less and fill up every plane. I mean, that seems to be that would be the basic strategy, it sounds like to me, if they're cutting back on flights but still keeping certain cities.
Also, Mint is the best. I mean, of the U.S. domestic business first class products, even the transcon products, Mint is definitely the best product out of all of them from a soft product.
Oh, I completely agree.
I mean, there's no comparison. That's the thing that I think that's the thing that's just a little bit tough with JetBlue, just because operationally they're not that strong, but they do have the best first or business class product. And I think that, I mean, I guess we could argue on the European flights if you like flying on narrow body planes to Europe, but I think it's still a great product. And I don't know, from cities of Boston, JFK, flights to Amsterdam and London are so short anyway. I mean, they're basically the same as a transcon, right? I mean, that's 5.5 hours, 6 hours. So it's probably I guess I'm trying to say is it's totally an appropriate plane for a flight that's that short. So, I mean, that's, it's interesting. I just wonder where they're going. I guess because of the whole redirection with losing the Spirit merger. I mean, I think they just got to figure out what they are.
Yep.
Well, I think that they're a little bit lost in what they've been historically trying to do and stuff. And historically, they were strong in Boston, right? They were strong in Boston. It was one of their main markets. So they were like a Northeast type of focused airline. And then they're, getting to Florida and doing routes and the original JetBlue. On the West Coast, they had Long Beach as their strongest or as their focus city. They didn't fly out of the big airports. And because, they don't have first class on most of these, or only Mint, right? That's the only premium product they had. So Mint was kind of the first move we saw that they were wearing off from the profitable model they have in the earlier years. And an expansion, and the expansion was Mint, and the expansion was LA versus Long Beach. LA is more difficult to get to for local traffic, and getting to the airport is a pain in the butt, and that kind of stuff. And it wasn't successful. There's a lot of competition at LAX, and fares are very, very, very inexpensive out of LAX to most markets because of that. So they're not going to be able to make any money from that. So, and then they started, plugging here on the West Coast in routes where between, for example, in the Bay Area and LA, Southwest flies, I don't know, from Sacramento, I think they have 25 flights a day from just where I live to Burbank and LAX and Long Beach and Ontario. So it is very, very high frequency. So coming in and competing with somebody there, like American has one or two frequencies to LAX from here per day. United has one.
Here being Sacramento.
Yeah. And United has one or maybe two, and Delta has 2 or 3, while Southwest has like 10, 12, 13, depending on the day of the week. So for me, I fly out, when I fly to Europe, I usually fly out of LAX because it has the most destinations in Europe nonstop to where I need to go. So I will fly down there, and I would say 9 out of 10 of my flights are on Southwest. So they are so strong on the West Coast. Alaska has also made a play for the West Coast, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But after Rudy now leaves, because you have a date, so you got to get out of here now. You're 2 minutes late actually for your date.
No, I'm not. I have some other stuff to do before.
There you go. But I think that, they're a little bit lost. I think that a focus on the East Coast, I think is smart. I think that going back into Boston has a lot of open, has some opportunities still. I think Boston is a good play. And I also think that, who said that? Cranky Flyer said that. I think his analysis, go to his site and take a look at what he wrote about it. I think he's on the money, but I do think that they have a big, big advantage that they got Marty St. George. He's a no BS guy that really gets things done, and he says it like it is. He is like a really completely honest on point guy. So they got the right man for the job. So I think they'll be fine.
Good.
All right. Last thing, airline today is Investor Days with American Airlines. We talked about that last week, and we talked about the week before, where the American management have admitted that 80% of their profits will come from selling miles and points, and also to premium flying, obviously. So it's funny because we did an analysis, or Gary Leff, View from the Wing, did an analysis and how they have made money 1 quarter, I think it is. If you take out the miles and points bit, they've made money 1 quarter since 2018. Which isn't really that impressive. Okay, we had the COVID in there, but still, it's not really. But it seems like the pilots, who now have a fresh new, the ink isn't even dry on their agreement. The pilots are very, very unhappy with American Airlines management. So they wrote an open letter to their management this week, and it dropped here the other day. And I couldn't stop chuckling from looking into to this article here. So here we go. It's funny because, America West used to be merged with US Airways, and then, or was acquired by US Airways, and then US Airways and American went bankrupt together. And then they kind of got out of bankruptcy. No, actually, I take that back. US Airways did not go bankrupt. American did. They merged together, and then US Airways disappeared. Back in the day, America West used to be a short-haul airline. And it looks to me like the pilots are all the too many words to talk about, but they want American to fly more long haul instead of flying domestic, because the pilot wants to fly longer flights and work less.
Right.
And I think it's kind of funny. First of all, I think that, they've just gotten the agreement. The pilots in the United States are making so much money right now from 3 big airlines that don't make money. Delta doesn't make money. United doesn't make money. And American doesn't make money from flying. They only make money because they sell billions and billions of dollars worth of miles and points to their banks every year. So they can't afford paying the pilots what they're paying already. I think that it's funny, though, that they're being so vocal. They're on social media. They're talking about it, and they are unhappy because with the direction of the company which is to focus more on short haul.
I would like to add
correct me if I'm wrong, but the salaries for like a senior pilot or pretty senior pilot at the Legacy 3 are like north of $300,000 a year now.
No, that's incorrect.
Yeah.
The salary for the ones with the highest seniority, and I'm not talking about dudes who are like 20 minutes from A, dying, or 2, retiring, is $526,000.
Whoa. Wow. That even
more than $500,000 these guys are making.
That is huge.
That seems to be a little bit hard to have complaints.
Well, I think first of all, this is something you take up internally. When somebody is when a non-shareholder pilot that is a burden on the finances in the company, because American cannot afford, but they could not. The pilots had all of the airlines in nuts in a vice here, because they literally after the pandemic came back, they retired so many people, they bought so many people out of the contract, so they didn't have enough pilots coming back with the demand that came after COVID. So the airlines have themselves to thank for this, but at the end of the day, they still can't. The reality is they had to pay all these salaries, but they can't afford it. So we are going back to the same round that we had in 2008, 9, 10, when Continental went bankrupt, United went bankrupt, American went bankrupt, and Delta and Northwest went bankrupt. It's inevitable, because they cannot afford to pay these pilots the money that they have. Oh, they deserve it.
I want to add one footnote, and then I'll say goodbye. I sort of watch airline stocks, especially because my Southwest stock went down with their latest problems. But United's been having problems lately. And in the last month, United stock has gone up $10 a share. And I just don't understand that. I can't explain it. I don't know why. But there you go. All right, I'll say goodbye.
Is confusing for sure.
I'll say goodbye to you boys. Remember, when you sign off, whoever signs off, Michael or Tommy, remember to remind people the date we're doing it live. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, enjoy your date, Rudy. Best of luck.
Yeah, enjoy. Great seeing you. As always, great
seeing you, Michael. Thanks. All right, bye-bye.
Tommy, I wanted to ask you one more thing before you move on to hotels. If
Sure.
you covered yet. Did you cover the IAG changes in dog fees that started on March 1st?
I did
because
not.
That has been a incredible. The dog fees have gone up incredibly on IAG. I mean, it's for example, and this it was announced in February, and it started maybe January, February. It started in March, but somebody with 2 small dogs moving back to the US from the UK, the price has jumped from about £1,200 to over £5,000, because you have to do your dogs in cargo from the UK. And not a lot of people have spoken about it, but I've seen some grumblings about it. There's one who flew dogs, but I just sent you a link to an article. But it's amazing because this article from the BBC talks. Sarah had initially received a quote for the journey from London to Baltimore for £1,143. So let's call it, like, for both dogs, let's call it like 1,500. But the price has now jumped to £5,118 without administration fees. So IAG is basically saying that it's just very, very costly for them to do dogs in cargo.
I pulled it up. I was there since you texted it to me. I was able to pull it up on the screen.
Yeah,
so
that's what I figured you'd do. But I very few people have talked about this, but it's absolutely gone bonkers the amount to transport dogs from.
Wow, that dog looks like Leo, kind of.
I know.
And for those who don't know, Leo is Michael's dog, a perfect little gentleman. I love Leo. Well, everybody loves Leo, but I honestly, what are we talking about here? So for somebody who can't afford it, this is like £5,000. That's serious money for somebody who's in the military.
Yeah,
that's like $7,300.
Yeah, no, it's becoming, near impossible for people, especially people who go back and forth with their dogs to the UK. It sort of slipped in there in the news stream. I saw mention of it in February that there was this huge price, this huge price difference. But yeah, I was curious.
Those dogs are so small; they can't bring them with them on the plane.
You cannot bring dogs with you on the plane from the UK.
Oh, okay.
So that's a UK thing. Now you could pop over to somewhere else, to Germany and do it.
Yeah, we had
I thought it was
sort of next to us on Lufthansa here a few weeks ago when we came back from Europe, and I don't think I don't even think they charged at all to bring it on board.
Yeah,
but definitely worth taking a look at, and it's pretty sad that your servicemen going back to the U.S. Are the American carriers so American Airlines also are not a part of IAG. Let's do
IAG Cargo handles a lot of the because dogs are treated as cargo from the UK. IAG Cargo handles most of the a lot of that for a lot of different airlines, because I remember when we took Leo during COVID from the UK to Los Angeles, we had to do that, and it was about Leo with everything was about £1,500 back then, but now it would be even more. It's crazy. I just
no, this is unacceptable. I mean, IAG Cargo says we know that pets are important as family members, and the specialist service providing safe and secure parameters of live animals is our priority. Adjust number of rates across multiple routes to better reflect the complexities and care associated with this product. Wow. Okay. I'm going to actually do a little bit of research on this until next week, and I'm going to come back and see what the other airlines charge and see if we can find some alternative. We'll bring this up.
Yeah. No, I thought it was interesting when you were talking about the baggage fees and the other fees that are out there. This just sort of hit, and I thought it'd be something that you would talk about.
I'm going to most definitely. My plan is for next week, we're going to do a little research and see what alternatives are, what the solution can be for people, because there definitely has to be ways to get animal across the pond that doesn't cost £5,200.
Yeah, or at that point,
so it's about 26. The pound is 26 or 1.26.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody's favorite Park Hyatt in Vienna looks to be faces an uncertain future. And before people get carried away here, it is not the hotel itself that's in financial troubles. It's the owners of the property, the real estate giant that's restructuring now to avoid liquidation. And I don't know how if this should we call this clickbait but when a property gets sold, there's always a much higher risk for it to change a flag and whatnot. Have you stayed there, Michael?
I have not stayed there before.
Have you had customers or anybody that stayed?
It's funny. I don't book. I mean, I book a decent amount of Hyatt, but not for a lot of my clients want more bougie than Park Hyatt. Park Hyatt is a very interesting brand to me because it is, except, setting aside one or two properties, it really doesn't hit the same way as Four Seasons, Mandarin Oriental, Shangri-La. It doesn't usually hit that same 5-star standard, or at least that's what most people tell me.
Yeah, I think it varies by market. I agree with you on that point in some markets for sure, but you have exceptions like the Park Hyatt Kyoto is by far the best hotel, definitely in that town. I think it wipes the floor with the Ritz-Carlton. The market here in Vienna is there really aren't any good luxury hotels though. I think that when it comes to, you have the Ritz-Carlton, who is also taking an older building, but they got some service issues, and also the location is kind of a little bit in the periphery. That's one thing. And then you have the old school ones, like the Hotel Imperial, which is a luxury collection with Marriott. And then the Bristol is like old and dusty. And the Hotel Imperial is kind of, but it's got a little bit of panache because of the classy restaurants. And they got Laurent Perrier included in their breakfast buffet. So you always linger there a little bit on the weekends. But what other hotels are there in Vienna? There really aren't any. That's kind of luxurious, right? So
yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, I really miss, and I was a huge fan. I thought was a really special hotel when Park Hyatt had that property in Majorca, which got deflagged. Not deflagged, it just changed its name. But I thought that was a really unique, super unique property. That was sort of sad to see them.
I think
lose
that. Americans don't understand Mallorca and the islands, and also you have to have a stop to get there. So I don't think that the Hyatt contract kind of did what it needed to do. We also with the location, like an hour from the airport. So I think that was it. But we had we both of us who we were there together on quite a few stays over there to check it out, and also had an event there. But the Park Hyatt in Vienna, I actually like the property. I think it's great. I think if I were to say where would you stay if money wasn't an object in Vienna, I would stay at the Park Hyatt. I would do that. I would pick it before the Ritz-Carlton, to be honest with you. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's a good, for those who are not Hyatt fans, it definitely is a luxurious hotel. When it opened, 2013, 14, something like that. It's an old bank. The basement, they have a pool in the basement, which is having a full-size pool, a 25-meter pool inside of a hotel, a new hotel, this in the middle of a city. It's kind of unique. And they got the gold bars, fake, of course, but they are gold bars because the pool is where the vault used to be. So the under the floor, they have fake gold bars, so you can see under glass on the bottom of the pool, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I think it's we'll have
what are there now in your? You've got Paris, Vienna, Milan for Park Hyatt. What else is there in Europe? Paris, Vienna, Milan. What did I forget?
So I was Zurich is a Park Hyatt, but they
and Zurich,
the MO in Zurich, so the MO is definitely better. The Park Hyatt in Zurich is good. It's a great property, and it's also good value because you can get it for about $400, $450. The MO, I just looked at it last night because I'm going to Zurich to check it out, and it's not the worst MO in the world. It just opened, like literally just opened. Love the location, much better location than the Park Hyatt, even though it's like only a 10-minute walk from there. It is about 900 Swiss franc for the MO, and the MO is the old Bauer and Ville is what it's called. So you have the Bauer Lock.
I remember that,
but this is Bauer and Ville. They shut it down. It's been closed down for a year and a half, and it just opened. So it looks gorgeous, as an MO should. But I think MO is making a big play in Europe, and they've overtaken Four Seasons when it comes to quality properties in Europe for sure. They've opened up a ton of new stuff lately. So that's a big one. They have now 3 hotels in Switzerland, I think. So I would say that the Park Hyatts, you have the one in Paris. Paris one is, I just stayed there for 3 nights. It's extortionately expensive. I was able
and
to
their rates are holding. Their rates are really, really.
I think that Paris now has the Olympics coming this summer, so Paris will hold. I don't think London is holding. London is on its way down for sure, but Paris is most definitely. I was able to get a 2-night, get one free type of stuff in Paris, and I paid like $450 a night. was what it ended up being in February. So super low season, crappy weather, and that kind of stuff. But we had a phenomenal stay. The guy that we know, I've had 20 plus stays at that property. I love it. The guy who used to be a waiter in the restaurant got promoted. He's running room service now. And he is, good friend of ours. And we hugged and all that stuff. We haven't seen him because we hadn't stayed since before the pandemic. Great stay, great hotel. The Milan property, I don't think so. That's fake. Like you said, like it's one of those fake five-star hotels. A lot of people like it because of the location. It's like next to the Vittoria Emanuele, the little shopping street in the center, the first shopping mall in the world inside with the glass dome above it, next to the Duomo. But Melinda and I both agree. We've stayed there a couple of times. They have a Michelin star restaurant, so their claim to fame is like the food is spectacular. I don't think it's the Michelin star restaurant that makes the food. I remember we ordered room service because we got in late one evening from traveling, so we decided not to go out, just to order room service, and it was salty and so salty. It was a terrible, unedible meal. It was just very, very strange. And we had breakfast, and they had nuked my eggs out of this planet. It was really strange. And we were there a couple of nights for that stay, and we didn't like the food at all. So we ended up not having breakfast the last day. So it was a little strange, but it's nice room. But what I didn't like about it, the suites are kind of one big room, and it's view of the inner courtyard. We had both times we stayed there. The second time we didn't get upgraded, but the first time we did. And the mini bar, and so the closet is in next to the shower. So you got the shower going, so your clothes are hanging there, and they get steam and stuff around it, which can be good if they're wrinkly, but if not so much. And the mini bar is under the sink in the bathroom. I thought that was kind of weird, and it was a little tight. The suite was a little tight. I don't know. Not my favorite. What else in Europe do they have? The Vienna one, a newer property. They spent a ton of money building that place, and I like it. They're really good with upgrades for globalists, and they have decent rates, like $400, $500, which is the same, about the same as the Ritz-Carlton. I like it better than the Ritz-Carlton, to be honest with you. It's just a more classy property and not as big, and also a much better location than the Ritz-Carlton. So what else do they have? They don't have anything more in Europe, do they?
No, there really isn't.
No, I think the expansions have come in Asia, like so many others. All right, moving on to other luxury. So the San Francisco Four Seasons owner. So disclosure, there are 2 Four Seasons in San Francisco. There is the regular one, the one that's been there for ages, that's on Market Street. Mm-hmm. Great property. Lobby's on the 4th floor. They have a rotunda in the back, so you're kind of secluded away from everything, getting in and out of that place. Stay there during the pandemic. Melinda organized a birthday bash there. We had a great stay. It was very COVID-y when we were there. We have on our channel, we've got a review from the place. I don't know. It was great, but it wasn't that great of a stay, but it had to do a lot with COVID, but great hardware. This one actually was supposed to, it opened. When did the Embarcadero place open?
Yeah. I always book the Market Street property. I've seldom ever booked this property.
Right. I think didn't it just open?
Yeah. I mean, it's
2021. It says here, the hotel opened as a Four Seasons in 2019, and it reopened again in 2021 after the COVID, right? So yeah, it probably quite the history prior to that. It first opened in 1986 as a Mandarin Oriental. Then in 2015, it was sold, and it was a Loews Regency, San Francisco, sold again, and then it made it into a Four Seasons. Yeah, this location is kind of like the Hilton Financial District, that dumpy Hilton that's around there. I think that's right. It's one of the buildings over. It's the same view.
Yeah, it's a difficult. I mean, San Francisco is very, very difficult right now. I mean, it's you're right. It's just a difficult city. I mean, honestly, you would question if Four Seasons really needs two properties anyway in San Francisco, to tell you the truth.
I don't think so. I think that, they have two in with Beverly Hills, but it's two different types of products, right? So, and it's the what is it called? The one on the corner there, not the Biltmore. It's called something else. Oh
You mean the Beverly Wilshire?
The Bill Wilshire, yeah. So it's not really. So that's a classic property that they took over, and then they have a plain Four Seasons that's kind of close to the Ivy, and that way a little bit out of the way of the Golden Triangle. So,
yeah, they also have the Napa. They have the new Napa Valley Hotel, which is supposed to be very, very good.
Outrageous price,
outrageously expensive.
Oh
yes,
my.
They are. So they've got a couple of properties. Remember, at Four Seasons in New York, the main Four Seasons is still closed because they've been in a financial argument with the Beanie Baby guy.
The who?
Forever. The Beanie Baby guy. That's one of the most storied. The Four Seasons. Remember the old Four Seasons New York?
I do remember the old on Fifth Avenue,
and it's still
Park
that's
Avenue.
that's just that Four Seasons New York is still there's still a big argument between the owner of that property and stuff. It's a crazy story. Look it up.
Well, we'll cover that next week. I had no idea. I knew that they opened up a new one like downtown or something. But or somewhere else. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't really.
Yeah, well, that's what they did, but that was the main one.
Right. No, that one's the main one, the one that's closed. I thought they were refurbishing it. That's why it was closed. I guess not.
I haven't read about it in a couple of years, but it's I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening now, but I haven't. But here's another topic for you to research. But it's an absolute crazy story. But if you realize it hasn't reopened, I hear a lot of good stuff from people about they really like the they really like the Mandarin Oriental. I hear a lot about the Mandarin Oriental, Baccarat Hotel, and the Essex House, the JW Essex House, which is in a great location. They just completed a very, very large renovation, and I think the lobby renovation is almost complete. And they just opened up a bunch of new, fancy, swanky suites. So but I always hear good things about Mandarin Oriental. Baccarat Hotel,
they're kind of overtaking
the MO in New York. Prices are crazy, but I consistently hear good things about.
I think it's very seasonal when it comes to New York. I mean, you can find some, like, up until now of the beginning of the year, it's always super cheap. I mean, I didn't go this year. We didn't do the Travel and Adventure Show this year, but it's definitely very seasonal. When it comes to San Francisco, I haven't really seen that inexpensive pricing. I mean, we live an hour and a half drive, or usually what we do, we drive to Walnut Creek from here we are, and we take the BART into the city so nobody steals our car. But that's usually the plan that we have. And I haven't seen really, the prices are kind of still, a little bit high, but I think that where would you book somebody here? I would say in if you wanted something nice, it's probably the Four Seasons. I mean, the St. Regis is worn out. It's like, the last time we stayed there was like right before the pandemic. We did a stopover from Asia, and we stayed at the St. Regis, and there was like hole in the couch and a ton of stains. And
they're doing a big renovation now too.
The St. Regis?
Yeah, so
definitely need it. All right, so, couple quick hits here so we can start cooking dinner. Or you can go to happy hour. We've got the United Airlines are off officially today. We heard some chatter about that yesterday, that United is now allows for pooling, like we've had with British Airways for a long time, for years and years. So British Airways executive class tech is probably the worst in the world. But
definitely,
they have had that pooling they've had for a long time. There's kind of a little bit of a catch, though. That the pooling has to be, you can only redeem pooled miles on United and United Express, which kind of makes it a little bit useless, right?
Yeah. Whereas British Airways, you can redeem with the pooling on anything that you can.
I don't see how this should matter, to be honest with you. Why would they have a restriction like that? You're literally, the family's traveling together. The dad has the most miles, but he uses the kids' miles and the mama's miles, and they pool them together so they can go on vacation together. Why would there be a restriction on miles that you own?
Because I think United looks at it like there's less cost basis in redeeming United and United Express, whereas if you redeem for Lufthansa, there's additional cost involved in redeeming for Singapore and Lufthansa. So they don't want to encourage more redemptions for Singapore and Lufthansa. So that would be my guess if you ask me. It's just
all right. So looking at, we were talking about this a few months back, or a month back, when Avelo is making money. The low-cost carrier that's based out of, are they headquarters in Houston, I think? And they have based a couple of more planes now already happened to Sonoma Airport. So Sonoma Wine Country, which is Santa Rosa, and which is close to Healdsburg, which is such an underrated fun town at the top of Napa. And you can also do Napa and Sonoma. You can go to the coast. You can go to Bodega Bay and stuff out of this airport. So there seems to be that airport has had some very, very few flights. United flies to Denver. They fly to LA. They used to, I don't know if they do anymore, but American flies to like Phoenix and maybe DFW, I don't know. And Alaska has had some focus on that town, but they've been the biggest carrier in Napa. So Avella moves in, they move in a couple of planes. There's not a big frequency though. It's not daily, or definitely not multiple times a day. So they've had a couple of Oregon based what they've had is, so the 50 employees for the airport and blah blah blah. Let's see. So Pasco, Washington, which I have no idea where that is or why I should care. Salem, Oregon. We have friends that live there. That's the only reason why I've heard of it. And Kalispell, Montana. Is it Californians that has a house in Montana to get away from X, Y, and Z for parts of the year, go hunting or whatever? And then to Boise. Those are the new routes that are coming up. In addition to that, they have Las Vegas and Palm Springs, which is where I thought you were going to move to and retire, but you didn't. You decided to go with another direction. They are doing Burbank. They already have Burbank, and they also have RDM. Where the hell is that? RDM. Somewhere in the sticks. Is that the hang on? You're not going to help me with an airport code here?
RDM. Usually,
Redmond,
you're pulling airport codes that I don't know.
Yeah, no, RDM. I mean that's Avelo's thing. So Levy, our friend Levy, who used to work.
That's Redmond, Oregon. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Our friend, last name Levy, I don't know what his first name was again, off the top of my head, runs this company. He's the CEO. He used to be a chief financial officer at Allegiant. So he's really smart. And I think these guys are going places there. It's, second tier airport or third tier airport, if you will. But it's interesting to see that Alaska has now moved into the Vegas route. They have been flying to Portland and to Seattle, to Burbank, LAX, Santa Ana, and San Diego from Sonoma, and the expansion happens. So yes, there's going to be more competition, but they only opened Vegas, so I would say that wine country turf battle that Avelo's now gets Vegas, gets competition of one route to Vegas. I don't think that's big and dramatic enough for me. That's not a big turf battle. That's one route out of many, and Alaska has had domination there. But I think it's cool that you don't have to drive to SFO out of wine country. You got bridges and traffic and all sorts of junk on your way. So it's cool that you have a smaller airport that takes minutes to fly out of.
Yeah, no, that's great.
All right,
and I think the smaller airport point to point is great.
Yeah, no kidding. Actually, we've got South African Airways has gone bankrupt or up and down or back and forth many times. COVID killed it again, and the governments took it over. They've tried to sell it since 2021. 2019, they was almost liquidated. The government stepped in as well, and now it is over. So they are saying now that it's got 18 months and then it'll be gone forever. Do you ever book anybody on them? I mean, they don't even have flights anymore.
Nope. A lot of One World to South Africa.
Right. All right. BA First Wing is opening finally again on March 27th. That's a quick hit. For those of you who don't know, when you are originating in London and you're flying British Airways out of Terminal 5, their main terminal, they have, if you're Emerald or you're flying first class, you can go through a priority security or a gold security where you only Emerald / British Airways Gold / Executive Platinum and whatnot. Plus, if you're traveling first class, you can walk through. You don't walk through the regular security. You have a wing where you check in, and then you go through security. It's pretty swanky.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's something that we need. It would be great to have in United States airports.
They've have some of them. So in LAX, you got both Delta and American has it, where you have the flagship stuff where you go in and you go through this door and you go up and you go through. You come out like in the first. You're like right in front of security, so you're always first in line when you come in. Delta kind of has the same thing in Terminal 2. So there's.
But this is truly its own dedicated.
Yeah, they have it like that, and also, Munich, Lufthansa has the same way, and in Zurich, Swiss has the same way. Dusseldorf, they have the same way, and of course, if you're in first class or if you're top tier with Lufthansa, you have the first class terminal, right? So that's a whole different league there, where you it's funny because passport control in the first class terminal. Have you ever been there, by the way?
I've never been in Lufthansa first class terminal.
Right.
I'm very well aware of it, but
that is as bougie as it gets. I know you like that term, but so So do you go into you come in and you go through there's a counter where you get your boarding pass. If you don't already have it on your phone, you go through a security where there's no lines ever. And then you go sit down. They take your passport and they bring it to the customs officers to get stamped out when you're going to the U.S. So you're literally sitting there sipping your whatever you want. They've got 37 types of still water.
They also have a cigar room.
They have a big cigar room with the Cubans and everything. And they also have a substantial single malt list. Substantial. It is, you can get yourself a single malt there that runs like $600-700 a bottle, easy. And of course, they have a sit-down restaurant. They've got these nap rooms, and they've got spa rooms where you can take a bath with the little rubber ducky, and yeah, it's cool stuff. But so that's open in London. Last thing I have on my list for this week, finally at the end, this was a long one, is the new Hawaiian Airlines 787 was delivered a couple of weeks back. It came to LAX. It's going to be put into traffic very soon, or like in a few months. They're still doing some training on it. So the business class looks exactly like American, Cathay, or whatever. And reverse herringbone with the doors kind of stuff, or British Airways also kind of looks the same way. So yeah, it's right now they have some lie flat seats. We took the 330. What
routes are they going to fly that plane?
Get laid with the stars. No, lay of stars. They haven't said yet, but I'm sure they will be. Let's see. What is the here we go. So you can experience it all when the first plane takes off on April 15, 2024, with daily service between the Lulu and San Francisco through May 14th, followed by select service between the Lulu and LA, the Lulu and Phoenix. And I'm sure that they're doing that to do pilot training to get us hours and stuff like that. Usually when they ramp up, when United got their first 787, obviously, that they gave it to me after about 3 days after it came into traffic for the Star Megadoo 4. But they flew it only domestically for a long time. to do that. So I guess it has to do with getting X amount of cycles on the plane or pilot training, or
I guess Honolulu makes the most sense. I mean, that's,
right.
As far as
yeah, so Lulu to San Francisco and Lulu to LA. So it looks like they're doing a month to San Francisco. We have the 3:30 going out of here to Daly to both, depending on the time of year, from Sacramento to Maui and the Lulu. When we went to Kauai last year, we bid on the upgrade, and it was very inexpensive to get the lie flat seat. And it's a little bit open, but I have no issues with their current product, because for us, it's like a nonstop 4-hour and some change flight, right? So, and the food was brilliant. They do a good job, and they're like, they're very mellow. The Hawaiian peoples are, but it looks like a good product, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, these are the products that you really want on more of the mid routes, the 4 to 5 hour routes, which you don't get, because you look at a lot of the LAX to Honolulu routes, they're all A320s or Neos or things like that.
Yeah, the 321 Neos is what they use now.
Yeah, there just are not a lot of wide body aircraft, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, I honestly don't mind. There, the alternative for us here is I would rather fly. So the alternative here is, so for me, it's the same. It's 5. We literally were in Hawaii, and it takes 5 hours from here, and then a little bit less than 5 hours, and then 4 hours and a couple minutes coming back. So for me, it's not a long thing, but they need to put it into Boston. They fly to JFK, they fly to Boston, and I also think they fly to Dulles, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember, but they have some long haul routes, and they also have a long haul routes to Korea. They've got Japan. They both to Sapporo, they fly, and they also fly to Australia. So they have some routes where it's definitely more needed than here.
Yeah, no, good
all right.
stuff.
So what did Rudy told us to say? Thank you, by the way, for spending this time. Usually it's not this long, but we have had a long conversation about a lot of stuff. So thank you so much. It was great to see you again, for stopping by. And
Rudy said to remind everyone the date.
All right. Okay. So people don't know what date it is. That is a little scary. So we've got March 21st, 2024, Michael Trager and Tommy Danielsen signing off. And thanks for joining me, Michael. And we'll see everybody next week.
Great. Thank you.
Ciao.
Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.